Welcome, everyone. Welcome here to the superheroes that made us. As always, I'm the BINBUSTER. You know, beside me is the Timiac himself, the collector, Tim Talks Talkies. Along with me is Mr. Luther himself, 4KD Ray.
What is it going on, people?
How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Right before we begin, Chad, if you guys want to say anything in regards to our choices tonight, if it's something that is a question for one of us or something that is an interesting comment that you want us to discuss, we will discuss it amongst the three of us, but keep it relevant to what we're discussing at that moment, because I'm not going to go through each one of these all night long, chat-wise. So before we begin, let us see who's all here. We got, obviously, there it is. Let's see. Come on. There you are, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
There's
Jerry.
Dimension is here too. We got Brian Miller. And we got Jerry again. We also got Chandler.
Chandler. Huge supporter of everyone.
Yes.
Everybody,
yes, he is.
yeah.
We got Huck here tonight. Welcome,
Hey,
Huck. Obviously, Huck, we did not choose Chicken Boy because obviously he didn't fall under any superhero category. Sorry, man, about that. Hello, great. Yes, it's going to be a great panel tonight, Huck. And here we go. All right. So, without further ado, Tim, why don't you start us off, man, with your first one?
Okay. So, my first one is based off a character from a TV show that came on in 1999. I was 12 years old. Man, this hit at just the right time. Happens to be my favorite version of a Batman. But Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, horribly underutilized by Warner Brothers. There is so much possibilities with Terry. You get some of the same things that you get with younger Peter Parker dealing with the same issues of trying to balance a girlfriend in school and being a superhero. And it's all done incredibly well in this show. You still get the same dark tones that you got out of Batman the Animated Series. I mean, heck, you still get the same exact Bruce Wayne in the show. But yeah, I absolutely loved this. The villains I thought were pretty much on par with the Batman the Animated Series, like Ink and Shriek, like great villains. Like this, honestly, I would put this right on par with the original show. And this, like I said, I was 12 years old when this came out, and this hit so well.
I remember when that show came out, Tim, and I'm like, oh, it's a continuation of Batman. Okay. Of Batman the Animated Series, obviously, because it has Kevin Conroy as the voice of Bruce again, and Will Friedle as Terry. But even, like you were saying, that the animation show didn't do it justice, DC Comics doesn't even do it justice. I mean, they had a short-lived... Did they have a short-lived Batman Beyond thing that came on after that, like Season 2 or Season 3, then they called it, and then they ended it, and then all of a sudden they tried to redo it again just recently, and then it failed again. It's either people don't... Actually, in print form, people don't want to see anyone other than Bruce in that role. And I understand that from a print form, but at least give us something else.
Yeah. I keep hoping every time we're getting new Batman stuff on screen, Terry is never talked about and never given a chance to shine. I feel like the most Batman Beyond characters shined as of the past 10 years has been the Arkham games.
Yeah.
And I personally don't like the character design of the Arkham version very much, but I like the more like slick suit, young teenager. Like I don't know. I want this.
I mean, the suit, to me, that suit looks better on Terry than it did in the first couple episodes with Bruce. Because Bruce is just too bulky. And then you see him in that suit, then you see Terry in the suit, you're like, it just fits Terry better.
Oh, way better, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome concept in the show, too, that, like, this suit wasn't made for Terry. This is what Batman was like when he was older and had to hang it up. And then Terry just basically stole the suit. So it was really cool. I really, really want to see Terry utilized in some form in live action. I thought that
I thought that's what we're getting when I heard that Michael Keaton was coming back to the role. I'm like, oh, we are finally getting a Batman Beyond movie, and I'm like, no, we're getting him with Batgirl and Supergirl. I'm like, okay, hang my head and start crying in the corner.
I do think it will. I think we'll actually see it at some point, though. I don't think it'll be anytime soon, but I think they will give it a try because there's so many iterations of Batman as it is, and that's the one character who just keeps having movies over and over and over.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they know that there's a lot of people that just really love the Beyond portion of the story. So I think we will get it at some point.
And honestly, why not try an actual animated movie, like an actual theatrical release?
Yeah, actually, and speaking on that, the Return of the Joker movie is so good. Like, honestly, it's one of the best animated DC movies, like, flat out. It is a fantastic movie. It's really dark in tone. And that's something else I like, too, is they gave this Batman new villains, but also you still have the Joker with, like, the Joker's gang, and it's just...
the Jokers,
cool.
Yeah.
Really...
I especially enjoy this episode where they brought in Bane, and you see him in the wheelchair, like, just decrepit and, like, very shriveled up with the venom drip. It's like keeping him alive. It's like, that's what would happen to Bane. And then Mr. Freeze just being, like, the head with the spider tentacles. I'm like, yep. He would still be around. And see, that's what I agree with you, Tim, because with Batman, you either get, it's either Joker or Joker. Maybe even Catwoman. Maybe even, let's throw Catwoman there as his top 3 villains. So it's Joker, or Catwoman. So, and with that, seeing Batman Beyond and actually just stepping away from the Joker, really, and bringing in new characters, I'm like, that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, the TV show doesn't show, but in the comics, actually, his little brother becomes the next Robin. So.
Yeah, I've read a couple of the runs of Batman Beyond in comic form, and it's never given the length of time to really dive into stories because it keeps getting canceled. Like, there will be a Batman Beyond run. Yep. It'll last a year or two, canceled. It's just, what the heck?
And recently, with all this Dark Knight's Metal stuff that was happening in DC Comics, if you guys aren't familiar, it's an entire dark multiverse story arc where the dark multiverse from Earth to Zero is coming over and destroys the DC universe, and it's up to our heroes in the DC proper to combat them and stop them. Terry was absolutely absent of that until like the final chapters, which I felt was really weird because you're dealing with a Batman who's actually led by I won't spoil anything. It's Bruce who got corrupted by the Joker as Batman, so it's the Batman who laughs, and then each one of his gang is a different version of Bruce Wayne who killed another like literally he put Barry Allen onto the Batmobile just to drive through the Speed Force to become Crimson Death, sorry. Pretty much he cut off Hal Jordan's hand and the rig went on him to become Dawnbreaker. So I mean, it's Bruce Wayne. So Terry comes up in the final arc of it, and you see him, he's like white hair, long white hair, full beard. He has like a robotic arms, and he's just standing there. He's like walking up, and it's like, I got this. And it's like, what can you do? You're old. He goes, I still have some fight left in me. And he just puts on his utility belt, but no suit. He puts that on, and he just puts on the cowl he had, and it's just that and his utility belt with these robotic arms and his regular body just going at it. I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. And they included Terry in that because they didn't need to, because no one knew who Terry was, but his world, his universe, his future was being in jeopardy. So he was coming back to try and help see that through.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, Terry is a very good pick here, Tim. Very good pick for a Batman. One, like you said, doesn't really get talked about because when you see all those lists of Batmans, Terry McGinnis is not even on there.
No.
It's always like the Bruce Wayne's, like all the live action stuff, all the animated stuff, and Terry's never on there, which is a shame.
Yep.
So D-Ray.
All right.
Well, what's your first one?
All right. Well, so you guys know superheroes comic books.
Yeah.
So my first one's gonna be a comic book. I did want to do Batman, but mine was gonna be the Batman Mask of the Phantasm. That's still my favorite.
Yeah.
But I don't have
Very
it,
good
and I
movie.
really would rather show it off. But
Yeah.
it's been years
Very,
since I saw Mask of the Phantasm, but it's very good. I'm sure most people would say. A lot of people now might say Beyond is a lot better, but I love Mask of the Phantasm. But my first one anyway. This is a comic that most people probably don't know much about. They probably don't know much about the actual company, but it's a more darker fantasy type. And my first one is Savage Dragon. This is the first edition from '93.
Nice.
Image Comics. One of the founders, Eric Larson, he created this character before he became the co-founder. I think he was first introduced like 1982, the year I was born. Like I said, this one's from '92. It actually had its own animated series on USA back in, I want to say '96 or something like that. I think it was only like 20 something episodes.
There we go.
But yeah, he was the character. He was actually a cop. I thought he'd get, since he had the cartoon, I thought eventually we would see some type of movie or something from this character, but unfortunately we never got it. But yeah, Savage Dragon, and like I said, hopefully you don't mind, but
No.
I don't keep a lot of stuff from childhood, but the stuff that I do have is all like comic book related or something like that. So I do have a few other comic books I wouldn't mind showing you guys real quick. So this one is from, I think, 90.
That looks cool.
And as you can tell, I was a kid, so I didn't know anything about keeping them in the plastic and keeping creases off of them. But I think this is like 92, 93 Vision, alternate Vision. It's that one. There's a
as
Batman
awesome as
Joker.
Collecting is. It's nice that you read them. Like that's their purpose to be read. So that's great.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Annex, and I didn't know much about getting first editions. That was my first edition, and I've always kept it in that plastic because that's when my cousin finally told me about it when he got me into it. Is Iron Man. This one is also from 92. So yeah, most of them are gonna be from 92. That's when I had to have this one. This was a no-brainer. Batman brain breaking his back.
Yep.
Man of Steel.
And
somebody I wish they would do the movies correctly for, Ghost Rider 2099.
That would be nice because the Nick Cage ones didn't really do it for me.
So the first one was the better one of the two, but but it's also one of those weird characters that you almost have to go into, like the whole supernatural, like demons, devil, like with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse Mass. That would have been perfect type to actually see him somewhere in there.
Yeah,
but because that brought in the entire world that way. But beyond that, there's no other way to really truly bring in Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
I mean, those of you that don't know, Image Comics is I would say probably the third, number 3 company out there because it's Marvel, DC, DC, and Image. Yeah.
Easy.
If you guys haven't checked it out, check out Invincible on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
That one is a very good Image cartoon show. Like you said, D-Ray, it's like their properties don't really correlate well with big screen because they can do the animation stuff awesome, but they try to do a live action one. Look at Bloodsport or Bloodspot with Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
It wasn't even really.
Most people probably, they probably don't even think about it, but Spawn.
Yeah.
That's the more popular one, but people probably don't even know where it comes from. Most people probably think it's Marvel, but it's not.
I should also say, so I personally, Image is actually my favorite of the 3 majors. And for anyone that's watching that doesn't really read comics much, look towards Image because a ton of their stuff is relatively short run where you can start from the beginning and you won't feel lost as much. It's not as daunting as jumping into Batman or Spider-Man where you have, 60, 70, 80 years of stuff that has happened. Like a lot of these Image comics are really only a couple of years long before the creators move on to something new, but they've produced amazing stuff.
Same with IDW and the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles are probably the longest running IDW property known, but they like you said, do short limited runs of stuff.
Yeah.
So kind of
Oh,
like what Dark Horse used to be too. So
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Malibu, Malibu
Yeah.
Comics.
yeah,
I
until
know that's. I got into Image more at first because I got into comics a little bit later.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't into them when I was like really young, and that's what got me into Image was because like I'm like afraid to jump into some of these ones that have been going for so long and afraid of feeling lost. So I was like, some of these Image ones, like I can jump in and it might only be like 6 trade paperbacks and I've caught up on the whole thing. You know what I mean?
yeah. So I'm just checking the chat to see if there's anything mentioned about Image or Savage Dragon. Nothing really. Okay. So then I'll go up with mine. Mine right here. I will probably. Well, I will make sure I don't drop it in the first place. But I will. If you guys saw my Instagram, you guys probably saw this at one point in time.
Nice.
My Adam West Lego Batman cowl that actually comes off with a little stand and everything. Yes, you guys could probably figure out where this is going. I'm actually talking about a different Batman than Tim did. Mine is the Bright Knight, as he's been called by the actor himself, Adam West. But right there are Batman the movie that started it all and the 2 animated ones. The reason I go with this one is because before Batman Beyond, this was the one that was playing on like FX all the time, and I caught episodes all the time of this. So this is pretty much, and this helped me because I'm a huge like Leslie Nielsen fan, and I thought that this helped me jump start on that train of the spoofs and stupid comedies like that. So that's what helped me on that because people are like, "Oh, how could you like that? It was so campy." I mean, if you enjoy the campy stuff, it actually is pretty good. And if you think about it, even guys like Jack Nicholson even said Cesar Romero, who plays the Joker in here, who, by the way, was one of the darkest characters in that entire TV show made for kids, actually said he got some of his ideas from Caesar on how to be the Joker. So, and I found that was interesting. So that's my number one is also Batman, but a different version than when Tim went to. So mine is more so. Mine's more so the campy, the Batman Brave and the. Let's put it this way: the Batman Brave and the Bold Batman. Let's put it that way. That one, that right there. So yeah.
So being that you showed Lego, I'm a big Lego fan. I have tons of Lego around the house. I missed out on it. I so wanted. They had a Batman 66 like mansion set that you could actually going down the pole, and the attention to detail with the little like it had the shark repellent spray.
Yes.
Like just so much attention to detail in
it had the it even had the little William Shakespeare bus with the head flipped open. Yeah. I enjoyed that, and you flipped it around and it became the cave. I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed that. I missed out on that one too. Just how big of a fan I am, I missed out on that one. I wish I would have gotten it, but like growing up, I had all the Batman. Not this version of Batman because there wasn't much toys around my childhood of this one, but it was more so like the Keaton Batman. But I had like the Batcave, I had the little cowl, cape, everything. I was all into Batman as a kid, so I would say that my started with the Adam West one. So yeah. So Tim, number 2.
All right. So since it's not in order, what do you think would be better right now? Out of the box pick or traditional pick?
Let's go traditional first.
Okay. We'll go with the traditional. Second date with my wife. First date, I saw Dodgeball. Second date was going to see Spider-Man 2 in theaters from the Raimi trilogy. Mm-hmm. This, honest to God, I know people love No Way Home and everything. Raimi's version of Spider-Man is the version for me. Spider-Man 2 is one of the best, if not the best superhero movie in my opinion. Like it is a perfect superhero movie. I have so much attachment to Spider-Man 2. Love Spider-Man 1. 3 I like enough, but that was more so because of studio interference that ruined the plans on that. But yeah, I thought Raimi did a great job. Loved the Steelbook. Stupid me, though, got rid of there was an outer packaging. This pack had the Garfield one and the Raimi one, and it doesn't have anything on the spine. And stupid me got rid of it. That's dumb. But otherwise, it's a gorgeous Steelbook doll. But
it is
nice. I I have a lot of attachment to the Raimi one. Like Raimi is already one of my favorite directors, and just I thought Tobey was a great Spider-Man all around. It's just the action set pieces are great. I thought Kirsten Dunst was a fantastic Mary Jane. Like there's zero complaints with those first two movies. Like they're great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. So what would your rankings for the Spider-Mans, the people that played them, what would you say?
Oh, out of people, I would go Tobey. I would actually then go Andrew, and honestly, Holland is my least favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about him, but he's fine. I thought Garfield nailed Spider-Man. Like I thought he had the Spider-Man persona perfectly. His Peter Parker was fine, but his Spider-Man was great.
Yeah, like Chandler said here, he agrees with you, Tim. He likes the first and second one from Raimi. Were always awesome, always a great watch.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I still remember my trips to the theater to see them. Like it was pretty amazing. Like it was another one of those where you had to get there early. That was before tickets. You could pick your seats. So you were standing outside the door of the actual theater, trying to race in to get the perfect seat to sit down and watch it. Like, I'll always remember that one.
Yeah.
And when I was gonna say, when you think back to like this is pre-MCU. So when you think like we're used to big action set pieces and all these superhero movies now, but like at that time, that the whole train sequence with Doc Ock and then him like Spider-Man holding the train, like that was mind blowing. That was so awesome. And I just sometimes I feel like we could almost collectively lose sight on how great that was because now every superhero movie is giving us these huge set pieces, but that at that time that was insane.
I enjoyed especially that one with the train because that scene was actually shot. The train scene with them superimposed on it via computers, but the train shot was actually filmed in Chicago right here. Because they have the CTA, which actually goes over a bridge like that, so they actually filmed it using that train. So I mean, that's actually that's why I like it. But I also gotta say something here too, Tim. Is it me or do these pre-MCU movies make you actually feel for the villains? That their villains were actually more than just one-dimensional.
Oh God, yeah. MCU besides, I mean, Thanos is one of their best, but MCU does not do great with villains for the most part. I don't feel like. I mean, you really feel for Doc Ock. You feel for Green Goblin is fantastic. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, they nail the villains, or they're great. So, like I said, this would be damn near like high up if I made like a top 50. This would be pretty high. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. How about you, D-Ray? What way would you put the Spider-Mans?
I'd probably go the same way. I think Tobey was the best overall. Andrew, I loved his size, his long lankiness as Spider-Man. I didn't dislike his movies like most people did. I enjoyed them. I still enjoy them. So I would put him second, but I agree. There's something about Tom Holland. I don't know what it is he's missing. This last one was great, but was it more because of the nostalgia that made it so great? I loved his fight scene at the end. That was pretty cool. But it's just like it's missing something. The movies are always fun, but it's for me, it's more him. He's just missing something. I don't know if it's that, like we just talked about with the dramaticness of 1 and 2 in those scenes. I don't know if that's what it's missing, because we did see some with the death scene in this newest one, but maybe there's just a little bit more of that's needed from him.
Yeah, I never felt that same connection of Tom's Peter and like MJ as I did in say, this one. There's just there's something about Holland's version that just it doesn't quite click with me.
I agree with what Huck is saying here. He goes, he even thinks Spider-Man 3 has its good moments that people don't talk about. For example, Thomas Hayden Church is a spot on.
Oh, he was
Sandman.
great. He was great.
He was.
Honestly, that movie, if the studio didn't interfere, that would have been a damn great movie. Like, Venom in no way, shape, or form should have been part of that movie, shoehorned in. That's a for the fourth, because there was plans to do a fourth.
Yeah. Yeah. Action figures, that's what it's for. Chandler goes, in my opinion, he feels like that Tom Holland needs a bigger actor to support him or to make him do well. I agree with that. And he also states that he enjoyed Andrew's Spider-Man. I think he deserved a third one, enjoyed his movies, not sure why all the hate.
He absolutely deserved a third. And
yeah,
killing off Gwen had more emotional impact than anything that happened in the Tom Holland ones, in my opinion. Yeah. Like that moment, I knew that happened in the comics. And when that happened on screen, I'm like, holy crap, they had the balls to actually kill Gwen on screen. And in a horrible way, the guilt of Spider-Man, like, I tried to save her and I killed her, like, pretty much what neck snap.
I really wanted to see them dive into that a little bit more with him. After seeing now with his acting style now, I want them to see him being like oh, this bugger's doing it. Help me, Spider-Man. He's like, no, I can't. Not with what happened to Gwen. And trying to get over that and get back on the bike, so to speak, to becoming Spider-Man again. Or he's like, oh, I just can't do it anymore because of what happened to Gwen. I don't want that to happen to anyone else who's innocent that way again. I gotta agree. I gotta agree with you guys.
I think maybe that him and MJ's connection on these, it doesn't feel like the past two. Those felt like more of an older love relationship. This one feels more like middle schoolish. Yeah, and I think that's what's a little bit different this time around.
Yeah, I agree with that, D-Ray. It's Caveman, the Spider-Man upside down kissing the rain is actually an iconic scene.
So iconic, yeah.
Yeah. It seems so iconic. That's one of the big scenes that people show when you talk about Spider-Man in the comic books, is that same scene. I gotta agree with you guys about ranking them that way. I feel like we saw in Tobey's, that he was in high school, then he becomes in college. We actually saw him progress as a Spider-Man throughout the years. Whereas Andrew seemed more of that middle of the road, almost college student-y Spider-Man, where Tom Holland to me feels more like a kid still.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily Spider-Man. Yeah. All of his best story arcs were when he was an adult. Like take example of the Superhuman Registration Act during the actual Civil War story arc. He has, like, everyone's like, well, should we register, should we not? You see Peter Parker walk up to the podium as Spider-Man. He goes, I have something to say. Not only am I your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, he rips off, he goes, I am also Peter Parker. And I support being registered as a superhero. And he goes, I support it because why? I know this will save my family. I've lost so much in my life. I can't have it happen again. And that moment there just was like, for years, people were like, well, it's Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man. And Peter, they were like never putting the two together in his personal life. And then that happened. They're like, Aunt May, just seeing him walk back and Aunt May just running up to him and hugging him. Be like, thank God, I thought you were doing drugs. Well, no, she thought he was up to no good, like being out all night and everything. She was worried about him. She goes, now I don't have to be as worried about you anymore. Type of thing. So, yeah, so you see, it kind of pays that way that when he's older, a lot of his stories are, Spider-Man 1 did a great job with the origin story. Yeah, I agree with that, too. That's the reason why I think Into the Spider-Verse is such popular with a lot of people. Because here you have Miles Morales as Spider-Man, someone other than Peter Parker. And they can actually tell the story of a different Spider-Man. Hey, look, you even brought Gwen in as Spider-Gwen. Or is now in the... Or as they call her now, Ghost Spider.
Yeah.
Because Gwen's a ghost, so yeah, Ghost Spider now. Yeah. So, yeah, I enjoyed those. I enjoyed the pick. All right. E-Ray.
All right, so I'm gonna take it a little bit further back than that, a couple years. Going into this, I really didn't know much about the character other than the group that he was once with. But once you showed me a sword, vampires, Wesley Snipes, I'm all in for it. Didn't know much about the character himself from a comic book standpoint, but I'm going with Blade.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely had to see this in theaters. Comic book movies were, half thought about back then. This was what, August 98, I believe. So everything we got before it was kind of absolutely terrible. But when this came out, man, it had, great audience reaction, great critic reactions for it. Very good movie, filmed great. Helped spawn a lot of other movies that came after it. We didn't get X-Men until 2000. I believe Spider-Man was 2002, if I'm correct. So yeah, it was pretty much the first superhero movie really done well. And I believe it still holds up very good today. 2 could rival this first one. Definitely 2 was very good. 3 was we don't like to think about part 3. I'm sure Wesley Snipes doesn't even want to think about part 3 himself, but we're getting another one at some point, a couple years from now, I think, or is it next year or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't have much faith in it right now, but we shall see. But yeah, Blade, man, I love this movie. I think it was well done. I guess a lot of people like to say first black superhero movie. Guess
that was
I don't
a
know
success.
Yes, that was a success because we've had others,
Yes.
but not quite like this. The others is kind of comedy and stuff. So yeah. And like I said, this gonna kind of lead into my number 3 also, but here goes the group I was saying I know him from, Night Stalkers.
Here, let me get that bigger for you, D-Ray.
There we go. Maybe it'll kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got Blade in his group. So I didn't know much about him. I just knew he was in this group at one point. I've never had one of his solo comics or anything like that. So I didn't know much about Blade coming into the movie, but the movie was well done.
Oh, yeah. So
all right.
I would say I loved that. Not only was it a great comic book movie, but it was a comic book movie aimed 100% at adults, coming out R-rated. It didn't tame down anything, which is what I'm kind of afraid with MCU. It's going to come out at PG-13. I don't feel they're going to go there. Blade already, he kind of falls in that like gray area, and I would like Marvel to explore that, but I feel like they're going to tame it down some.
Think about Deadpool. Think about Deadpool. If it wasn't for Blade being a successful R-rated superhero movie, I don't think we would have gotten the likes of, like, say, Deadpool out there at all.
Yeah, because a lot of people were surprised when that got that rating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not confident, though. We'll get another R-rated.
No,
I'm not either.
Yeah, no. I know that they claim we will. I don't believe it. I really don't.
I mean, I could see something with one of my picks, but that's my third pick of where I think might be a great rated R movie for them to redo. But like I said, I will save that for my third one. And I'm just going to hit the chat because there's some good stuff here. Like Caveman saying with Tom Holland. I'll go back to that for a little bit. Just hopefully he comes into his own. The next 2 phases we've had high school, never dealing with financial matters, to college, to adult reporter. Maybe hopefully he's aging. He's aging is done well. We have Dimension say Blade is a classic. Mika going Blade, great choice for Blade. She really loves it. Chandler, Blade is a great movie. I really enjoyed it. Puck. He will say this. We never need another origin movie for Spider-Man, Batman, or Superman.
100% agree.
Exactly. I'll agree with that.
We know what happened. We don't.
Those are the top 3 that you don't need an origin story for, that everyone knows, no matter if you're a comic book fan or not. Just tell good stories, use more villains, but we need to be done with their origins. I agree with that. Yes, new Blade will star Mahershala Ali. Wesley Snipes stated he was very happy with the project, which gives me hope that if Wesley Snipes is very, very happy with it, that it might actually be good.
I hope, but I think he's like financially in on the back end, and he kind of broke. So I'm hoping it's not I'm hoping he legitimately thinks it's a great project. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because God knows we've had James Cameron come out multiple times with Terminators He fully believes in this Terminator, and it ends up sucking. So
there's another R-rated movie we forgot, Logan.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very. Oh,
Again, Fox though. Fox pre-Disney.
Yes.
Fox pre-Disney had balls.
mm-hmm.
I don't think we see that under Disney.
No, but like I said, their ideal way to have done it was through Multiverse of Madness, and kind of failed in bringing in that entire realm of characters and everything. It's the only way that made sense. You had Sam Raimi there. Bring him on board for this dark mystical world, and then just let him go at it that way. That's my opinion.
That's one thing I'm wondering. How are they going to introduce the vampires into this world now? Because that was a great opportunity to kind of show it. I think, who they chose to show in the movie, they could have picked some other things, leading into what's supposed to be coming.
And with Thor and the sword that Gore uses in there actually brings up an interesting topic with Spider-Man of them going back into the darker realms, but you can't do that if you're not going to do Blade properly, because it kind of coincides together. So, we actually have a question, gentlemen, before I get to mine.
Okay.
So it's right here. I'm trying to bring it up. What do you think of not needing any Justice League? What do you mean by that, Caveman? Do you think of not having a Justice League movie in general, or just not having a Justice League as a team? I'm actually interested in that, because I really think DC does better solo films. Like, if you look at their comic books are basically solo arcs, and then if there's a big thing that happens, they all come together. Whereas Marvel is like, groups. Oh, groups.
Yes,
where Iron Man and Spider-Man are starting to become more groups, and they're like not actually individuals anymore.
That's one of my biggest knocks against just MCU in general. They no longer, when you think, the Avengers is a 4-movie series, in a way it's not. It's like a 20-something movie series, because every movie is built off needing to watch everything else, and it's just I would like more like this stands alone besides these couple little threads, and DC does do that better overall.
Think of it as like an omnibus. We have the entire story arc here, and then here's the offshoots. You can read these offshoots if you want. You don't need to, because we have it all right here for you. So well, Mika says her dad was heavy into comics when she was younger. Says quite a bunch. For sorts like The Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Peter Parker, those are some great series right there. Yeah. Those are cool. Caveman actually reiterated his thing. He goes, not having an origin of them anymore. Batman, Superman, and maybe Wonder Woman, you kind of don't need. All the other ones, Green Lantern is, depending on which Green Lantern it is, it's actually a different origin for each one. Martian Manhunter, you can tell once and you're done with that. Flash, there's been like 2 different ones in the comic book. So if you go Barry, we already know that story because it's flushed out on TV. Wally, we can actually tell that one. So, I mean, like I said, it all depends on which route of the Justice League you go with. But the big 3, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, you don't really need to tell their origins anymore.
Speaking on Flash, too, what the heck are they going to do for that movie? Because it's done filming, and it's sitting in that, like, if you release it, it's going to bomb. But recasting would cost you're reshooting the whole movie. So what do you do?
It's going to be released. It's going to be released. They're going to spit off whatever they're spitting off, and then it's done. Period. Probably recast it down the line a few years for somebody else, and then try it again. But after this Flashpoint movie, I think we're done with what has been the Zack Snyder universe.
Yeah, and it's sad because it's like they just can't get anything really started that they want to do. It's gone in so many different directions since the beginning of all their movies. And I'm not saying they have to create this like universe like Marvel did, but there's just no continuity whatsoever with DC stuff.
I would appreciate more of the direction of Joker, where just give us these standalone great
Exactly.
movies. Like,
Exactly.
I don't think you need everything fully connected. You don't need to be MCU. Just make great movies.
Exactly. Like Caveman said, we need more spin-off origin stories like Jack the Ripper, Batman Gotham Knights. I would even throw Hush in.
Gotham City Sirens would be really cool.
Yes. Flash. Huck said they're going to release the Flashpoint. Yeah, they're going to release the Flash movie because at this point in time, they're going to lose money if they don't. They might as well lose money at the box office with people not going to see it rather than having it just sit somewhere. So,
yeah, I wonder if when you cut all the, I mean, he is the Flash, so it's hard to not show him too much. But with that, what was it? That Agatha Christie, what was it? Not Orient Express, the newest one.
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile. Yeah. When they showed the newest trailers, they tried to do as little of Armie Hammer in the trailers as possible. So they might cut the trailers to as minimize it as you possibly can to get butts in the seat.
I kind of agree with that, Mika, that to say redo it, or it's worth recasting even the cost of money. Such bad press with Ezra. It's kind of like Aquaman 2. I mean, there's such early stages of Aquaman 2 that they can get rid of Amber Heard easily.
Right.
It's going to be harder with Ezra. I mean, could you superimpose somebody else's face on it? Possibly through CGI in post.
All the money in the world. Pull one of those.
Yeah. Superman mustache. We could do that. Ken's here, guys, and he has something for us. DC has continuity, MC has too much continuity. Yes, I agree with that, Ken. Too much versus too little. Yeah.
If you told me right now though, you have to pick a full continuity, everything will connect, and you need to watch everything, or nothing connects. Yeah. I'll take the nothing connects.
Nothing connects. Yeah. Well, I don't need to see everything.
Like even looking at the Black Adam movie, I'm going, how does this play into Shazam besides them mentioning that the previous champion before Shazam in the Shazam movie? I mean, besides that one crucial aspect in Shazam, I don't see how the Black Adam movie would tie into that. So either. So even if it does.
I don't need it. Just
I don't need
be a good movie, and that's all I want.
Yeah. That's one I'm still not sold on it. And I don't think every superhero needs to be a big name actor.
Yeah. The only hope I'm having though is Black Adam this movie is only existing because Dwayne pushed so hard for it.
Yes.
Like he really wanted this. So I'm hoping his passion for the character shines through. The trailer was iffy, but I'm gonna give it a chance.
The best thing about that trailer is Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
Like Huck says here, they need to respect all other talent people, including other heroes like Supergirl, Batgirl, even the old Batman. They deserve to be seen. I agree with that.
Yep.
And I mean, technically speaking, after this Flashpoint movie, the Cyberverse is dead because of the Batgirl movie. We're getting J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon again. So technically, it's still in existence in some way. But I'm going on to my... Yeah, unless there's other things you guys want to say.
I did want to say one more thing. Yes. So I agree with that. I like to see other stuff like Batgirl and all them. I just don't like when they try to completely change up who these characters are.
Yeah.
Like I'm starting to hear some rumors that they're thinking about Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's some rumors about him playing like a Professor X.
I saw a picture online with him in the wheelchair and Denzel as Magneto.
Yeah. So stuff like that. I don't like when we start trying to muddle it up a little too much here.
Yeah, I guess it's the offense that garners audience support for recast. Like it's the money in the world and the recast reshoots for that term, but everyone's okay with it and is okay with crazy. Yeah. Just cut off all the Flash scenes and rename the movie Batman Returns Again, starring Michael Keaton.
There we go.
Batman Returns Forever and Batgirl. There you go. All four. Right there. All right, my next one, obviously, is a comic arc that not only spawned one animated movie, but a two-part animated movie. D-Ray showed a comic related to this story arc earlier with Steel, which was a horrible movie starring Shaquille O'Neal anyways. It is I would have to say it is the death. Yeah, there it is. I'll have D-Ray right there. Hold on, D-Ray. Hold it up just a little bit more. I'm making it big for you. So layout. Yeah, John Henry Irons, I gotta say, is probably one of the best things that came out of the reign of Superman. It was one of those ones that I agree, because right here, if you could tell, it's a death and world without Superman. So pretty much this was a 7 comic arc where we got introduced to Doomsday, and the DC poster boy of Superman finally got killed by something that was adaptable, that easily learned how to fight. So that shortly thereafter, we had the Funeral for a Friend story arc, which is what this entire collection is. How the superheroes of the entire world deals without Superman. When this came out in, I think, what is it, the 90s? Yeah, when this came out in the 90s, it was really one of those things that, in my opinion, shocked the comic book world. Because this was one of those comic books that really everyone was standing in line to get. Was because it had the first one had that first pressing had that black bag that went over it, and it had the regular Superman emblem. Then when you pulled it out, it was like the Superman emblem dripped in blood. And I mean, that was actually pretty cool, because it was like, they're actually killing off Superman. I can't believe this. What? And everyone needed to read it. And I mean, seriously, it was a talk of everybody, to the point of, like, even in Zack Snyder's Justice League, they killed off Superman for that aspect. It's amazing if you think about it. Like, that one comic thing rocked an entire world off their feet. And that many comic books can actually say that, honestly.
Yeah, so Superman is already a very, very powerful character. Yeah. Everyone knows that. So yeah, the idea going into, you're going to take like the most, or one of the most powerful characters on page and going to kill him. Yeah, that was a huge deal. I wasn't reading comics at that time, but just reading about that release and knowing that it was huge.
Doomsday, right?
It's unfortunate what the movie did.
Yeah,
you didn't feel it. There was no kind of real dramatic lead up into it happening, so you never felt the weight of it. So exactly. that was the bad part of how they showed it in the movie. It felt too rushed.
Death of Superman is like its 9th or 11th printing. Yeah, it is now, because it's one of those comic books that you don't really hear much about, that comic book arcs getting a 9th or even an 11th printing. But Death of Superman has that many, maybe even more at times too, because it's one of those things, like you were saying, Tim. You have Superman, this powerhouse that finally got killed by something out of this world that we've never even seen before. Doomsday was created just to kill Superman.
Yeah.
Like, the character never existed before, and see, that's a good thing. So
that's a great choice.
It is. It is.
Very great choice.
So Tim, your last one.
All right, so this is out of the box, very, very much so out of the box, considering we've been talking DC, Marvel, and Image and all that. But she counts. She is a superhero.
Okay.
The beginning of me, I was in Suncoast Video, and I picked up the first season for a show that I adore now called Buffy. I binged the hell out of this show. This was my first time like buying TV seasons on DVD and binging them. Because when I bought season 1, I think season 3 was already out at that point. Buffy has a long history in comics also. Like, she has a new arc going right now from Boom Comics that is excellent. But yeah, I adore the show. She is full on. She's a superhero. She has powers. She saves the day. She kills vampires. She kills all different types of monsters. She's a superhero. But I adore this character. I adore all of the characters, honestly. This is one of my favorites of all time. this was the epitome of binge TV for me because I watched that season 1 in like a day or two, went immediately out, bought season 2, then binged that, then went out immediately, bought season 3, and then I had to wait for season 4 to get released. So I got into Buffy a little late, but man, did it hook me. I love it so much.
Are you more of a fan of the Sarah Michelle Gellar or the original movie Buffy more so?
Definitely the Sarah Michelle Gellar one. The original one with Christy Swanson.
Yeah.
You could tell. So even though I hate saying Joss Whedon is a tool now that you learn how he treated people, but that movie was the training, I guess, for what the show would be. Like you saw his plans, but I like how he incorporated in the TV show more. The movie is just it's getting started, but God, the show, I love it so much. And like I said, the comics, these new comics are really, really good.
No, Caveman. Buffy did not have Constantine. Mm-hmm. Constantine's a Dark Horse. A product Vertigo product that's now owned by DC, and he's actually DC proper now. So good for him. Huck says great pick, by the way, Tim, for Buffy. Thanks, and Chandler says Buffy is one series I do need to check out, to be honest. Haven't seen it yet.
So I will say Buffy might not hold up to someone watching. Like the special effects can be a little rough now, but I adore it. I think the character work is great, which is something Joss Whedon was great at. Apparently, he was terrible at dealing with cast members and treated them like garbage, but he was really good with writing and making compelling characters. And it
gratuitous butt shots. Think about it, because you don't see that scene in Justice League where they're walking into the scene and it's on Wonder Woman's butt for the longest time. You don't see that in that Zack Snyder 4-hour cut.
There was a lot of tight leather pants Buffy ass shots.
Yes. Miss Caveman says, howdy all, love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Angel was a good spinoff too. Yes, I agree. Angel was a very good spinoff. Yeah, that's one of those things that carried the CW for years before it was the CW.
Yeah. Between you had a lot of really great supernatural stuff at that time. Like you had Buffy and Angel, but you also had Charmed going on at the same time. There was a lot of good supernatural stuff. But for anyone interested comic wise, though, like I said, Boom has it now and it's great. But there is 20 years worth of comics before that. They had comics during the run of the show, and then when the show ended, they actually made like official seasons. There was a season 8 and a season 9, and it's pretty cool. It's excellent in comic form. It's excellent on TV form. I love the characters.
Yeah, I agree with Caveman. Buffy does very well across demographics, 20, 40, at 30 and 40 cross generations watching. Yeah, because you almost get the same type of thing. Whereas, it's a teenager going through all the teenager-y things, but at the same time, I have to save the world from vampires. Sorry.
That was a cool choice, Tim.
That was.
That's just another one of those things. I think me and BINBUSTER and another group of people had talked about it before. There's a lot of stuff that people don't really know came from comic books.
Yes.
So I was very surprised that you pulled that one. That's a great series that I've never finished.
That's one of them.
So much.
I also suggest checking out all the other Boom Studio stuff, because like Tim said, it's one of those things, like it's the same thing as like Almost Image, where you don't actually have to pick up a comic and kind of know what's going on without actually diving into like 20 to 30 years worth of storylines.
Yep.
Yeah. And they don't get it. Boom Studios doesn't get as much love as they deserve, guys. So love Buffy, my favorite horror series. Oh, Sin City, that's another one that people don't really talk about, that was based off of a comic book. Yeah. So there's one more. Mika had something to say about Buffy. Let me see this. Rewatch it once a year at least. I do have the Buffy comics and Xena comics.
That's cool. I loved Xena and Hercules in the day too. They were fun.
I just got my wife the entire Hercules set, TV show set. the other day. So it's like she goes, I want to rewatch this. She was watching it on like Roku, and they only had so many episodes. She's like, I want the entire show. I'm like, okay, find it for me, and I'll try and find it for a better price. And I did. So yeah. So thanks, Tim, for that unorthodox choice. When you said unorthodox choice, I'm going, what could it possibly be? I was thinking through all the unorthodox choices up there, and honestly, when you said she, I'm like, it's Buffy, isn't it? Well, like right here, because that was the one that never crossed my mind. That was an unorthodox choice that never crossed my mind. I'm going, once you said she, I'm like, it's Buffy, isn't it? It's Buffy, and then you tell, yeah, it's Buffy. I'm like, oh, awesome. So, see, that's what this stream was about. Stuff that made us like. People don't really talk about Buffy because either you're our age, and more so, I did not know many guys when that show was on that actually watched Buffy. Yeah. I know some that watched it because it's Sarah Michelle Gellar, but actually, story arc wise, it was more so. I saw that more women were watching it than the guys were. So,
yeah, it definitely skews more towards the women demographic.
Yeah. So Mika, yeah. So their cinema. Hey, how you doing? It was just agreed with Mika there. So D-Ray, your next one if we're done talking about Buffy. So
all right. Well, my third one, it is, I like this, but it's very hard for me to just pull out one character. So my number 3 is just an appreciation of the biggest comic book company there is, and that's Marvel. If you'd have told 12-year-old me that 30-year-old me is going to start to see this huge phase that just all culminates to one big battle, I would not believe you because of what we had back in the early 90s, 2000s. It was not as good as what we've got over the past decade. So I would not have believed it, but I always knew growing up it was going to take somebody like one of us who grew up really loving these comic book movies to really make a great one. And I think that's what we finally got over the past 10 years. Someone that was very dedicated, that grew up loving the superheroes and comic books to finally give us these great movies. So my number 3 is just kind of an appreciation of Marvel. I've had these cards since 1990. 92 is the only complete set that I have, but I'll show some from 90 to 95, I believe I have. So starting with 1990s series. These are like some famous battle cards.
Nice.
You can see.
That's cool.
So I just pulled some out of my box that I have for each year. So 91, you got your Fantastic Four versus Doctor Doom.
I remember those cards. I remember those.
92. I don't know what made me really get into 92 and just keep buying box sets to try to complete the collection, but I've got tons of doubles from doing that. And these are my favorite. These first 3 are kind of my favorite cards out of the entire collection, but you got Night Thrasher, who you never really hear about. I mean, he's not a super great character, but I just love the way he looks as like a night ninja, I guess you can say. Nova, who I was really pressing for to come up in Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they could have segued greatly into utilizing him from that movie, but they didn't. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with Wolverine. So, yeah, tons of those.
Oh, look. Hold up the last one. It's Namor.
Yeah.
Not like how the way they show him now, how he's going to look.
Yeah.
Kind of like a professional wrestler, but he's actually...
All right. And 93's cards. You got your Juggernaut. And then Wolverine versus, you guys might think, oh, it's kind of like Batman. But you got Cyber, who does look like Batman.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite. These are the 94 Fleer Ultra. I love the artwork on these and just the gloss finish that they have. And when this character showed up in X-Men Days of Future Past, I went crazy to see him. You got Warpath.
Yeah.
Even though he was short-lived, but at least we got him. I love, I think it was Hulk or someone said earlier, just utilizing these secondary characters that you never see. I love seeing some of them. And you got your Exodus, Mirage, something you guys may already be familiar with, the wedding of Cyclops and Jean Grey, and another side character, Forge. But yeah, these are the ones I should have tried to collect all of because I love the artwork on these.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just an appreciation for Marvel here.
So I definitely want to give appreciation to the fact that Marvel basically changed nerd culture on reading comics or watching comic stuff and liking that stuff was not cool.
No.
Now it is legit. It's the cool thing to be caught up and watch all this stuff, and you're uncool if you haven't watched the Marvel movie. It is so weird and night and day how much things have flipped from what's cool to what's not cool.
And we also have Big Bang Theory to thank for that too. To actually legitimizing this nerd culture right here. So Mika says she has those cards too, D-Ray. Maybe you guys could do it like the old school playground times and trade. Logan was initially. Yeah, Logan was
that 92 series. I got a bunch of like doubles from, you buy those big box sets and there's a bunch of cards you already have, but you're hoping to get some of the other ones or a special limited one.
Logan was a 6-issue miniseries that I did not know. Puck and Alpha Flight is based on Wolverine. Yep, I knew that about Alpha Flight. That's a good Canadian team that's never going to be used in the MCU. Just got storage for them and my old basketball cards. Basketball cards, yeah. Storage for the cards and comic books is kind of out there. It's okay, Mockbuster. You're about ready just to see. It's awesome because Tim talked about Buffy. He actually had his second pick in there, which was awesome because it kind of tied into D-Ray's pick here with the artwork. And I know Tim will appreciate this, but mine also has to deal with artwork. Mine is one of my favorite comic book characters besides Batman. You ever watch my channel? I've actually mentioned this one a couple times. So I'm just going to hold him up right up here to the camera. Hold on. Let me just make myself big so you guys can see him easier. Right here. There's Liz Sherman. Kate Corrigan. Sidney Leach. Look at that artwork. Abe Sapien. You haven't figured it out yet. Hey, look, there he is. Yes, breaking off the horns right there. Pancakes. Baby Hellboy. The Hellboy everyone knows and loves. And Hellboy there with the horns. This is a card game called Versus Series back in the early 2000s. This is part of my Hellboy new recruit deck where I recruited him with the Justice League. So the Justice League became members of the BPRD to do stuff. Yeah. It was that artwork right there of Hellboy that actually drew me into the comic book. Because I was walking through the comic shop one day, like 14, 15 years old. Like, I wonder what's out there for something my age because the Batman story arcs, the Marvel, just at that time still kind of seemed kind of kiddish. I just wanted to see something else. That spawned my love for all things Mike Mignola. Obviously, all 5 movies right there. Hellboy 1, 2, the remake, and then the 2 animated ones. If you guys don't know, there were 2 awesome animated ones that were kind of a sequel to Golden Army. But these actually were based off of the comic book. So, which is actually kind of cool. Yeah, there's more of the artwork right there. Which also made me stumble upon this movie. I haven't read the short comic. But this is actually a short comic by Mike Mignola from Dark Horse. The Amazing Screon Head. This character was created because Abraham Lincoln was going to be killed. And Abraham Lincoln wanted to protect himself from zombies. And so he created Secret Agent Screon Head, who had a different kind of head for every occasion, just to save the world from zombies. So yes. So it's really out there, real crazy, but like I say, if you see Mike, there's some of his artwork. As you guys can see right there on the right out of the light, right there. Some different artworks there. I'll just go solo right here. So you guys can see some of that artwork right there. That is Mike Mignola's actual artwork in this movie, which is kind of cool and amazing. That if you haven't checked him out, the artwork drew me in. You might not be the biggest fan of Hellboy, but you can that artwork is some of the best artwork in comic book history and some of the best artwork today, in my opinion. So
What'd you think about that last movie, that remake?
I didn't really care for it. That's why I said earlier that an R-rated movie version of Hellboy, a remake that's R-rated, would actually do it justice. Because think of how great the first two were with Guillermo del Toro. Just think if you had him or Sam Raimi come on board and make it R-rated Hellboy.
Yeah. The reason that I liked Hellboy 1 and 2, you need that stylistic director, though, to make a PG work.
You do.
You can't just have a bland, I don't really know who directed that, 2019 Hellboy. But it's bland. It's boring.
Let's see. Does it tell me?
Neil Marshall.
Yeah, Neil Marshall. Yep. I mean, even in here, the character-wise, some of the characters are not even great. That's why I like the original two better, because to see Doug Jones as Abe Sapien in there, and then seeing him in Shape of Water, as a shape, it's like, holy cow. And then seeing what he did in Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer as Silver Surfer, I'm like, yeah, give this guy an Oscar. He needs an Oscar. He needs all the awards.
I am going to 100% agree with you about artwork. Obviously, because I'm a huge poster guy, I buy those because of artwork. I love artwork. Many times when I've been looking for comics, I will put down a comic if the art doesn't work for me. Do you know what I mean? Or I will pick up a comic I'm not interested in because of the artwork, and then I might be interested, which has happened. I've picked up comics purely based off art and ended up really liking them. It's just art matters so much to me. I honestly, I've bought comics because of the front artwork is amazing, because of the inner artwork's amazing. I am all for artwork.
There's the DVD that's goes from the artwork to Ron Perlman's face. Let me try and get it without blur. There we go. So
I'm a big fan of Scotty Young's artwork.
Yes.
I love his cutesy type of style. It works well for me. Anything he does the art for, I'm in.
Mystery Man. Huck says Mystery Man's a good out of the box superhero movie. Yes, I will agree. So is Red. Believe it or not, Red and Red 2 are out of box superhero movies that no one talks about either. Because if you think about how those old people, all those old men and women actually sit there and try and avoid all these guns and weapons, yeah, they're superheroes.
Red is there's a lot of like out of the box superhero stuff that people don't think about, like Losers. Remember when Losers came out? Almost no one thinks about that comic book wise, but it was a comic.
Wanted.
Yeah.
Ultraviolet is another one.
Yeah.
So Marvel and Iron Man was unforeseen phenomenon, jackpot for Disney. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Really solid comic book one real quick before I forget it. Yeah. Did you see Whiteout with Kate Beckinsale?
Yes.
I liked that. That would almost no one knows that was a comic.
Yeah. There's Barb Dwyer out there with Pat Anderson. That's a comic book. Yeah. So, Caveman, which one were you talking about? The Amazing Screon Head or the Hellboy Blood and Iron one? So, if it's this one's very hard to find. The DVD is like maybe $15 online, and that's a used copy because this is like very rare. You would only know about this being a Mike Mignola fan, honestly. Let's see. The one superhero that made me love other superheroes is, according to Southern Cinema, or heroines, was Wonder Woman with Linda Carter. Yeah, most people who love Wonder Woman, it's because of Linda Carter. Yeah. Let's take a look here. Let's see what else. We need a Tim Burton Hellboy directed movie. I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
He could do Gothic. He could do the Gothic setting very well. Yeah.
Yep.
What is it? What art was the focus on my 30-year career? Oh, did not know that, K-Man. Thanks for sharing.
Fuck, I'm late.
Puck, I'm late. I never got to notice you were live. Super is out of the box superhero movie. Yes, Super is a super out of the box movie. Yeah, one that
I think that came out the same year as some of the other ones. That was 2010, I think.
Yeah.
So you had Iron Man 2, Red, Scott Pilgrim, Kick-Ass. I think was the best one that year.
I like to Kick-Ass quite a bit. That was good.
Yeah. All right. Because he asked for it right here. He goes, he wants to know more about Screon Head. Let me read you guys the back of this. Ready? Based on the award-winning comic book by Mike Mignola, creator of Hellboy, comes a comic adventure that will make you laugh your head off. As the twisted title suggests, the amazing Screon Head is nothing like you've ever seen before. President Lincoln calls on the resourceful robot secret agent Screon Head, played by Paul Giamatti, to stop a diabolical Emperor Zombie, played by David Hyde Pierce, and his vampire queen, Patience, played by Molly Shannon, from unleashing the occult powers of a melon-sized jewel, Mr. Groin, to turn back the powers of evil. Yeah. Don't miss the chance to enter a demented world like no other that would totally screw with your head. So yeah, Mike Mignola actually created a world that Emperor Zombie and Patience, his vampire queen, are trying to take over the world. And it's up to Abraham Lincoln to stop him. Yeah.
That sounds weird as hell.
If you're like a Poe fan, like I am, an Edgar Allan Poe fan, that's what drew me to Mike Mignola's artwork, pretty much. Kick-Ass was the same year, Ryan said. Movies with Ryan. Yeah, Ryan's here. Let's see this. What did you all think of David Harbour's Hellboy? I own it just because it's Hellboy, but yeah, I didn't really care for it. I think it could have done better if it was. He was fine in the role. I think it could have done better with a different director. So, Ready Player One or Free Guy? Go, guys. Ready Player One or Free Guy?
I might go Ready Player One because of all the nostalgic stuff that was appearing on the screen.
Yeah.
As a movie, Free Guy. For the nostalgia, Ready Player One. I guess it depends what I want.
Yeah, Ready Player One. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Ray. Ready Player One's more than this, has a more nostalgia video game feel that way. So, I mean, we're a little over an hour right now. Like I told you two guys earlier, I wanted to keep this right around an hour because, I mean, talking comic books is something I could do for hours on end. But I'm like, yeah, as a live stream, talking about them for an hour might be good with just two other guys right now. So, in fact, I just want to say thank you for everyone who's watched. Yeah, I agree. I like his interpretation of Hellboy, but the movie was a disaster. Yeah, I agree, Ryan. I just
hit that thumbs up, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
As I say on my videos, smack that thumbs up button just like that. Hit it. Come on. And guys, all their Tim's and D-Ray's information's down below. Their Instagram, their YouTube. Follow them, like them, subscribe to them as well. These two guys are amazing. Not only amazing friends of mine, but amazing content creators too. I can't wait to see Tim's awesome room tour of his new room once it's done.
Yeah.
They have some great stuff coming up. Some great stuff that's happening behind the scenes. Some great stuff on their stuff. Caveman, next one I do of this, I'll write you down, man, to come in and join us on this. So I'll write your name down, man. I plan on doing more of these, like superheroes that made us, because it kind of is interesting to dive into those superheroes that no one talks about, like Tim brought up, and even D-Ray brought up, that no one talks about that made us who we are, whether it's the stuff we like to collect, the movies we love, or even our life in general that changed because of these heroes for good. So I would just want to say thank you to you two guys for coming, for spending your night with me on this Monday night. Thanks, Mika. She said it was a great stream, Ben. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Mika.
watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. And that's someone you guys also need to double check out. In fact, check out everyone who's left a comment on the stream. Go for it, especially Mika and her podcast. It's an amazing podcast with her sister. Check it out if you haven't already. As I said, we're at the hour mark, and so it's good night, everyone. I'll see you
And
guys
yes,
here.
it is very,
next-
very bland right now.
Yeah, it's a little bland. So we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Peace.
All right.